Senator Beth Mugo, member of the committee.
Thank you.
Senator Mary, Senator from Kajiado County and a member of the committee.
Thank you. Can we have the other members?
Senator Beatrice Kwamboka, member of the committee.
Thank you. I can see we have Senator Irongo Kangata.
Senator Irongo Kangata, Murang'a County.
Thank you very much.
Senator Millicent Omanga, member of this committee.
Thank you. The chair, can you introduce yourself? All right, my name is Ledamo Lekena, Senator Narok County, and I'll be chairing this committee. I can also see that we have the substantive chair, Senator Michael Mbito. Can you please introduce yourself to go on record? I think he might have dropped out.
I'm Senator Michael Mbito, Senator Trans Nzoia County, member of this committee.
Thank you very much. Now, can we have the Secretariat introduce himself, please?
Amy Chepkwony, clerk to the committee.
Thank you, Amy.
Christine Sagini, clerk.
Sombetona, legal counsel.
Frank Mtulu, media relations.
Trop, audio officer.
Crime Sergeant Arms.
Thank you.
Stephen Jata, assistant clerk.
Thank you. Any other member of the Secretariat? Okay, now can we have our guest?
We have the Office of the Auditor General.
Okay, can the person representing the Auditor General introduce himself?
Thank you, Chair. I'm David Ismaili, an auditor in the Office of the Auditor General. This is an office attached to this committee. We have two auditors from our office. They can introduce themselves. Cecilia and David.
Cecilia Lloyd, Office of the Auditor General.
David Kamanza, Office of the Auditor General.
All right, thank you. Can we now, do we have anybody else? I've had only three. We have the other one more member from the Auditor General. Smiley, who is he? Can you introduce him or her? Fair enough. Can we now have the Mwangi team introduce themselves? Do we have the governor present today? Mwangi team, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Please, can you introduce yourself? Do we have the governor?
I think we have.
I think we have. Okay, then can you introduce yourself if you're the governor?
Yes, and I want to express disappointment because my people were chased away last time.
Governor, point of order, please. Order,
There's
governor.
No order that. There's no order that.
Governor.
No.
Governor.
No.
Don't be, please, Governor.
I must first of all go to the background.
Governor, kindly, with all due respect, can you just introduce yourself?
My name is Mwangi Wairia, and I'm disappointed.
Thank you. Thank you. We've noted. Can you introduce, who are you going to be with today? How many people do you have in your team?
Okay, a minute, Lekina. Okay, Senator Lekina, we have. Hello?
I cannot hear you. Can you? I'm trying to.
We have.
Yeah?
the CC in charge of finance. Then we have finance and procurement.
Yes.
Yes, others might join, but those were the ones who are there.
Thank you very much.
Chair, I hope the governor will have corrected or try to improve his sound system. There is a lot of echo.
Is it?
Yes, Governor. Is it possible for you to
Try to improve your mics.
Okay, just a minute. I think I will do it. I think the others has muted now. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Governor. Proceed.
So I think now the sound must be clear now.
Thank you, Governor. I think if you introduce all your members, we can start over. Governor, today we are meeting. Christine, can you please put the agenda on the screen?
Certainly, Chair.
The Governor, the meeting today, which has already, the agenda has already been adopted by the members, is meeting with your county, Mwangi County Government, on the consideration of the special audit report by the Auditor General on the utilization of COVID-19 funds by county government. Governor, we had invited you to appear before this committee on Monday, but you did not appear. This committee felt that it was important for you to appear because you're the CEO of the committee, and extended a courtesy and re-invited you. Actually did not summon you. We re-invited you for you to be able to appear so that we can go through these COVID-19 funds as per the special audit by the county, by the Auditor General. So today, we give you that opportunity once again to go through. Your people were not chased away, Governor. It is tradition that since Article 179 of the Constitution puts you as the CEO, you would be the one who would be answering the questions. We never invited your people. We invited you to be able to respond to those questions. So I'd like us to proceed and be very formal in terms of our questions and answers. And the format we're going to pursue is that we're going to have the auditor read the question or the issue, and then you're going to be able to respond to it. And then after that, we'll go back to the auditor for clarification. And then members will also be able to ask their question. So, auditor, if we can proceed.
Senator, I want to give a comment.
Just wait, hold on, Governor. You'll give a comment, please.
No, I want to give a
Governor, kindly, Governor, please. Because we have so many meetings today.
Yeah,
and
that cannot deny me a comment, Senator.
Governor, I will allow you time to answer, to give any comments you want to give.
No, I
but I kindly
would
like to request you.
On a comment which you have just given, I want to clarify something.
No, Governor, just wait. Governor, please.
But you cannot deny me an opportunity to give my comment, Senator.
Governor, I will give you an opportunity. Let me just lay out the foundation on how we're going to carry out the meeting today. I will give you an opportunity for you to be able to express yourself, to correct whatever you want to correct. But I think the best thing for us to do is to begin with the, review of the questions. And then when you're answering, you'll be at liberty for you to express.
Senator, I want to play Senator, and in due respect, you see, when we are opening such a meeting, even when we go for a park, I'm always given an opportunity to say something at the beginning. We cannot just dive into issues. Why should
Governor,
I?
Fair enough. Governor, the floor is yours. Proceed, please.
Thank you very much, Senator, my friend Ladema. First of all, I want to correct the impression which you have created that you had invited me and I refused to attend. Your communication was fed to all Kenyans. It was very clear. It was a notice through the papers, whereby you invited the county executive. And if you look at the last column of your advertisement, it was talking about county executive. the county executive is not necessarily the governor. The county executive sat, and I wrote a letter to you people clarifying that and identified the executive members who are best suited because they have information, the background, and everything to deal with the issues, because the issues are very, 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 very clear. And that's why we sent them. So when they were sent away, everybody wondered, because these are departmental issue. It's about health department. And the head of health department has the capacity to deal with anything allowed health. That I was invited to come and answer. I think that one does not, it imputes bad motive. Because we have a full-fledged health department. That's why we have a department and a CEC. So when we sent them, you cannot send them away because I'm not there. I'm not a departmental head. No, I can come in if they're not able to, but I'm not a departmental head. Even when we go for pick pack, departmental heads pick their matters and they deal with them. So when Governor Adema, there I take reservations, and I also wanted to go on record that the invitation was not direct to me, and it could have been direct to me, then that could have been a mistake. So I think
right. Governor,
we are dealing with county issues and issues.
Governor, the way you've expressed yourself is actually not accurate. If you can look at the letter which was sent to you, the invitation was for the chief executive officer of the county. And if you look at Article 179, and there are two things, first of all, Governor, that I'd like to request you. Can you kindly enable your video in terms of for us to be able to actually...
I'm okay that way, Adema.
Okay, kindly enable your video.
I'm okay.
Governor, and I'd like you to refer to me as chairman because I'm not Ledama here. You either refer to me as chairman because I'm chairing this committee.
Governor Adema, I've had you abusing people during the...
Excuse me?
Today don't.
Excuse me?
Abusing people? Please don't.
Yes, Senator Kwamboka, yes.
Chair, kindly we cannot move on like this. Kindly, Governor of Murang'a, kindly we are senators, we represent this country, kindly address us with respect.
Thank you, Senator Kwamboka. Governor, I think you've heard what the senator said.
Chair,
yes, Senator.
I think in order to save us time, let us go on. Give the Auditors General Office time to represent the issues so that the Governor of Murang'a does not divert our conversation to his emotional discussion. Let us go to the issue.
Thank you. Auditor, Mr. Sumaili, can you please proceed and raise the first issue that you observed during your special audit? And Governor, immediately after that, you will give your response. You will read your written response.
Thank you, Chair. The report of Murang'a County is on page 24 of the main.
And Christine, can you display it, please?
Chair, the sound is very low. Can the speaker do something with the microphone to address to all of us?
Auditor, I think you've heard the concern of the senator.
Thank you.
Can you please increase your volume or speak directly to the microphone?
Thank you. Murang'a County received a total of 213,416,000, broken down as the conditional grant of 181,000, the NIDA funds of 6,965,000.
Governor, kindly can you mute your microphone, Governor, please?
The allowance for frontline health.
Auditor, can you please speak up? We can barely hear you, please.
Cecilia, please.
Hello, proceed.
Just a minute to adjust the volume.
And please read the first query, not the entire matter. We go query by query. Okay. Sumaili, kindly guide her.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Chair. Cecilia, read the query the way it is. The first query, please.
On work plans, budgets, and procurement plans, query number 1, absence of approved work plans for COVID-19 activities. The amount in question is 213,416,000. And we're saying that the county government of Murang'a did not prepare any work plans for utilization of COVID-19 funds, contrary to Section 107, subsection 2 of the County Government Act 2012, which requires the county government plans shall be the basis of all budgeting and spending in a county. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor. Can you respond to that issue of lack of work plans, budgets, and procurement plans?
Chairman, on a point of order, I just joined.
Proceed, Senator Uta. Just go on record.
This is Senator Fred Uta, a member of this committee, Sumu County Senator.
A member of the committee. Thank you. So, Governor, proceed and respond to the first issue raised by the auditors.
CC Health responding on our behalf.
Chairman, COVID-19 was an emergency which happened in the middle of the year, long after annual plans had been done. However, directives naturally had the formations of pandemic committees, which were the responding committees. And in Murang'a County, these committees were in place, and due to the nature of the pandemic, plans were changing continually. And the money had come actually with plans. So we can actually say that the plans were there.
Auditor?
At the time of audit and the period that had been requested, that is March 14th to July 31st, there was no evidence of presence of work plans, even though budgets had been prepared. The beginning of the county ought to have prepared the work plans first before getting to the budgets and the procurement plans.
Okay, members?
Chair, COVID-19 was an emergency. So the plans were way ahead before COVID came.
Fair enough. I've heard you, Governor, on your response. And listen, just hold on. So that we have a proper meeting, can we all have our gadgets switched to mute so that when the person is speaking, we can all be able to hear that person? Kindly. Now, members, this is an opportunity for you to interrogate this matter. The Auditors General found that there were no procurement plans, work plans. You've had the response from the Governor. Can the members kindly ask questions, more clarification, and raise concerns they may have?
Chair,
Senator Kwamboka, proceed.
if I can come in, I've heard from the Murang'a Executive CEC saying that plans were changing continuously. Which plans? Can you tell us exactly which plans were changing? Because even if you have something which is moving on, you should tell us this was done here and there. You can't tell us that things were changing, and yet you're utilizing funds which were not meant for. These funds are for this country, and they are meant for COVID-19. Specifically, can you prove, give us evidence how that money was changing, what the money was being utilized for?
Can I comment?
Just hold on, Governor. Just take note of the questions by the senators. Any other senator? Senators?
Chair.
Yes. Proceed, Senator Beth Mugo.
Thank you. Could maybe the Auditor General representative maybe expand a little bit more, even if it was an emergency? We know it.
Chair.
Yes, Senator Irongo Kangata.
It still is an emergency. Because there is, there must be what the Auditor General, they expect what plans, what's to be done even at time of emergency. What were they looking for?
Okay, auditors, just note that on the issue of the procurement plans. Maybe you can elaborate further on what you are looking for. But meanwhile, can we hear from the Senator?
Chair, I have a question
Yes,
to the
proceed.
auditor also.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Chair, for giving me this opportunity to raise my issue. Again, I want to build on the issue raised by Honorable Senator nominated Mheshimiwa Beth Mugo. Now, the fact that the monies are emergency, does that mean there should not be a work plan? Does it mean, for instance, maybe the auditor can tell us whether once you get the emergency funds, one can come up with a supplementary work plan or a work plan just for those funds? Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe before we proceed, auditors, can you clarify, based on the Act, both the PFM and also the Public Audit Act, which you rely heavily, and also all the Procurement Act, during an emergency, are county government required to have procurement plans? Are they supposed to plan for the money that they get or a grant, or do they just go out on a spending spree and spend? I think that's what the senators want to know before we hear from the governor.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The county governments are allowed to spend without a budget, but regularize it immediately. But the issue that is being queried here is absence of work plans. And the expectation was that the counties were to prepare specific work plans for COVID-19 activities. And that's what Murang'a County did not prepare. They prepared budgets for the year 2020, 2021. So they ought to have also come up with work plans at that time.
Revised.
Governor, and I think the senators who have asked the questions. First of all, Senator Irongo Kangata and Senator Beth Mugo, are you now clear on the question that you're asking the auditor and whether you want to ask now the governor to respond?
Well, I think he should responded to, but I expected to hear whether when they went a second time check, they found, because about regularizing, they were not regularized either. Because the lady, the auditor has said that they can spend the money because it's an emergency, but regularize immediately. So what are we dealing with? So they were never regularized. There was no report even after that.
Senator
Is that
Kangata?
the case?
Yeah, thank you,
And
Chair.
I
If
think auditors, please take note of the query.
We are
asked by-
taking note, Chair.
Thank you. And then you can be able to expound on it. Yes, proceed, Senator Kangata.
Thank you, Chair. If I heard the auditor right, she seems to propose that Murang'a County should have done revised work plans. Maybe I think that's what we should be asking the Murang'a County Executive to provide us with revised work plans to show how that money was expended for that period. Thank you.
Governor, you've heard clearly what the auditors have raised. And even before the auditors respond to the queries that have been asked by the senators, or rather expound further, did you or did you not have work plans on how you could spend the COVID-19 funds?
Thank you, Senator. COVID-19 had a committee, multi-agency, between the county and the national government, and that was a compulsory committee. That is a committee which was doing all activity plans and work plans for COVID, because COVID is a disease. It's not anything else which any other person can sit and plan aloud. The county government of Mwangi has minutes of all meetings which were held, enumerating all activities and plans which were recommended and implemented by the county government as directed by the multi-agency COVID-19 committee, which was compulsory. And when the funds were released, they were released conditional to setting up of that committee, because that was a committee to put down the plans, activities, and responses, because this was mainly a response fund, and it required professionals and multi-agency. Those minutes are there, and they are specifically.
So Governor,
yes.
If I'm getting
Yes.
you right, you are saying that as a county executive, who is charged with the fiduciary duty to ensure that you account for all the money that is given to you, since this was an emergency.
Yes.
Excuse me. Can I just finish the question so that we are clear?
Yes.
What you're saying is that you were not, in a position to prepare work plans because you had a task force. So all you're doing is that when the task force asks you for money, you send money to them. Was the task force the one spending this money, or was it the executive spending the money in terms of the response to COVID?
Can you listen to this? This task force was supposed to be independent so that it can recommend to the executive on the activities, because these are disease activities. These are not the normal issue of doing loads. As of the multi-agency made up of the national and county government, so that they can create activities, approve activities, and then the activities are funded by Treasury. That was a committee, and it was a legal committee, and nobody else should have done that apart from the multi-agency committee. They enumerated all the activities, including what to buy, what to do, and nothing was being done outside of their plan, and they have all that in record, signed in minutes.
Auditor, you've heard what the governor said, and you've heard what the senators had raised a concern. Were you supposed to audit how the county government of Mwangi spent the COVID-19 funds, or were you supposed to audit how the task force that the governor is now talking about recommended the use of the funds and whether those funds were used? Can you just maybe illuminate us on this matter? Because on what the governor is now saying.
Chairman, may
Yes, Senator Abdullahi.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry for coming late. I'm getting surprised a bit, Chairman. Was this money sent to the county government of Mwangi? And were they not responsible? Or what the governor is telling us now is that the people who are responsible of that money, who are giving instructions, who are asking the county government, we want this, we want this, we want this. So what was the role of the county government? Just to give, to do the recommendations of the task force, which is a multi-agency of national government and county government. So the county government, what was the role of the county government? Just to dish out the money. They had no contribution. Their people are already there. It's part of the task force. But I thought the county government is the one who's responsible of all the monies which was sent to them. I need clarification on that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just a writer.
Yes, Senator Uta.
Just like Senator Ali, I just wanted to know if there was a special account for this an emergency team rather than the county government of Mwangi, because the governor is saying that he had an emergency team who are approving all the items, and he had to go by that. Was there a special account that was sent directly to the team?
Thank you. I think, Governor, one of the first things that we would like you to do is that in your submission, you've indicated that you have minutes and plans. Can you kindly forward those to this committee? That's issue number one. Number two, it appears on your submissions, and this is why the senators are seeking clarification, you were taking instructions from this task force. Does it mean that you delegated everything, even the accounts? You set up an account and you delegated all the management of COVID 19 issues to this task force, and you are not accountable. You are not the one, the executive was not the ones, issuing out checks for payments of issues. Is that what you're telling us? And also, can you answer the question which has been asked by the other senators?
Senator.
Chair.
What you have told me to answer.
Senator, can we have the governor respond first?
Possibly before he responds, I think you are in the right direction by asking the Auditor General to tell us whether they were auditing the county government or this multi-agents committee, so that we get to know whether we are supposed to get the information of the audit from the multi-agents committee or from the county government of Mwangi that received the money from the national government.
Fair enough. Auditor, maybe before the governor responds, can you clarify that issue to the senators and this committee?
Thank you, Chair. We were supposed to audit how the county government of Mwangi spent the COVID-19 funds.
Fair enough. I think that matter is clear. Governor, can you now respond? Can you respond to the issue raised?
The question here is on plans. Were we just doing things without a plan? That is a question. And the committee is part of the executive. So anybody trying to assume that there is a committee, multi-agency and executive separately is lost. This is a committee which was meant to make sure that it is guiding the executive.
Stop contradicting yourself. You are contradicting yourself. You are contradicting yourself in the way you are presenting.
Let me finish.
Can you kindly...
Senator. So what we are saying is that the committee is part of the executive, and their work was to direct activity. Payments were done by the Department of Finance as usual. Procurement was done by procurement as usual. We are only guiding activities.
Hold on, Governor.
So
Christine, can you mute all these other people and just let the governor speak? Can you, Sumaili, please, can you mute your phone?
Hello? Hello? Is it on? Hello? Are they on? Chair, are you on? What is up? Chair, can you hear?
What is wrong with the chair? The chairman, where did you go? Proceed, Governor.
I think he has muted himself, unmuted himself.
Ali, can you
Governor, take over? Proceed.
Okay,
so no, let Professor proceed.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, first of all, Governor Mwangi Wairia, thank you for the response. Initially, the money was sent to the
Professor, he was answering a question.
Professor, just, members, can we please, if I'm chairing the meeting, let me chair the meeting. I've allowed the governor to respond to that issue. No, because we are all muted because of the noises in the background. So, Governor, can you respond to the question, please?
So the question is particularly on the plans which guided activities. The plans which guided activities were generated by the multi-agency committee. And the multi-agency is part of the executive, both the national and county. However, the role of procuring for servicing that through procurement and payment was done by respective finance department. So theirs was to direct activities and say, well, we have seen the upsurge of this in this sub-county. We need to spray that sub-county. We need to buy this and that because this is what the medical team is telling the multi-agency. And then from there, the other things are executed as defined by law. But in fact, ours is the most elaborate because we had a planning committee. It was not just a committee. It was just a plan. And it was being reviewed on weekly, continuous basis.
Governor, let me stop you right there. You're giving us a long story, and the issue is very simple. Let me remind you again the query. The auditors have clearly indicated that there was no evidence that you, the county government of Murang'a, prepared any work plans for utilization of COVID-19 funds. Now, you are telling us the plans are there. Where are these plans? And how come the audit team did not get to see these plans? Where are the plans? Don't give us a long story. Just tell us, here are the plans. You've indicated to us that you have minutes. Where are those minutes? Because planning is what helps you be able to budget on how to spend the money. If this multi-agency task force was helping you come up with the plans, the auditors did not find the plans. Where are the plans? That's the issue.
The plans are there, even Senate has the plans. I mean, the file of all those activities is there. It was even sent even to Senate.
Okay, just hold on so that we move forward. Auditors, do you now have those plans?
No, they were not provided to us during the audit, and they've not been forwarded to us.
Christine, do we have those plans forwarded to the Senate now?
Chair, what I have is the response that we are projecting. Perhaps his team can send us the annexures, which would now constitute those plans.
Okay. The team was supposed to send those plans, share them with the auditors. Governor, you see where we're having a problem. You're telling us the plans are there. You're telling us you have minutes, but the auditors have not seen on how you spend that money. Neither have we, all the auditors, seen during this period where we are trying to go over these issues. Can you just give us these plans now? Where are they?
So the annexures were sent to Senate. The auditor can get the annexures.
Members? Professor Ongeri?
Chair.
Yes, Senator Uta?
I just want to confirm with our clerks if we have those documents that the governor is saying. You know, we don't want to have a ping pong back and forth. If they are not there with the Auditor General and they're not there with us, then we can just proceed and move on.
Christine, can you confirm
Yes,
whether
can I comment? Yeah.
Yes, Senator from Murang'a, proceed.
Yes, Chair, I just want to say those documents are important. We look at them, we ensure they are okay. The auditor verifies them. I think the best case scenario would have been to beam those documents on this platform so that also the executive of Murang'a can have an opportunity to look at them. We also look at them, the auditor looks at them, and then we make a determination as to whether they settle that question with finality. I think it is an important query. It's an issue that is also crucial in determining as to whether the issue raised by the auditor has been settled or it has not been settled. Thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Kangata. Yes, Senator Abdullahi.
Chairman, I think we are repeating ourselves for no reason. You have asked that question severally. You have asked the auditor whether they have received those annexes. They said no. Christine has said the only thing the Senate has received is what she's projecting. And there are no annexes here, and there are no there are no plans here, there are no minutes here. So let the county government send those things, because the governor is saying they have sent, but it's confirmed while he's hearing that they have not sent. So can he go back to his executive and make sure he sent those things, and we proceed? I think we are repeating and going round in circles instead of progressing. Thank you.
Fair enough. Let me hear from Professor Sam Ongeri on this matter. Professor? Now, since Christine, are you able to get to Professor?
I'll try and reach him, Chair.
Okay.
Yes, can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you. Professor, can you give us your wise counsel on this matter?
Yes.
These documents are missing?
Yes, the issue is very clear. What the auditors are asking the governor to provide are the plans upon which the budgeting was done for the county government to spend the money which was sent through the CRF account of Murang'a County Government. It's a very critical information that is required to give evidence of that information, that indeed yes, there were specific plans, and provide the minutes of those meetings where these plans were thought through and agreed upon, and give the basis upon which whoever was responsible for payments, I guess the CEC Finance, was able to base the payment on the basis of those plans. Now, I hear the governor saying, yes, those plans were available, and yet we cannot cite them. I think what we now need to do is to be able to the onus is on him to provide evidence that those plans were available, the minutes are available, and that was the basis upon which these decisions were made, and for the Auditor General to be satisfied for us, because they are the only ones who can interrogate those plans, because we have not seen them. For them to interrogate those plans and then offer evidence to us that this has been done to our satisfaction. And I think that's the only way you can clear this audit query from the books, contrary to what section 1072 of the County Government Act 2012 stipulates. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Governor, let me give a ruling on this matter so we can be able to proceed. You have indicated that you have provided the documents to the Senate. The senator for Muranga has actually come up with a very good suggestion that you should beam these documents so that we can be able to see and clarify this matter. What I'd like to make a ruling on is that within 7 days, provide us with all the work plans. In fact, what you need to do first is to provide them to the auditors, because the auditors have still not seen them, and also forward them to the Senate, so that when we retreat to write this report, we can then be able to look at those work plans and be able to know how to mitigate on this query that the auditors have raised. So within 7 days, kindly provide those work plans that you use to budget on how you spend the COVID-19 funds.
Senator,
Auditor, let's move to the second.
Hello, Senator, I'm happy with that, even tomorrow.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. You can do that tomorrow, but we've given you 7 days to do that. Auditor, let's move to the second question. Query.
Thank you, Chair. Double payment for supply of hydrogen peroxide. So we're saying Muranga County contracted Saku Pharmaceuticals by LPO number 11337 to supply and deliver hydrogen peroxide at a contract sum of 172,000. However, the county government paid a total of 344,000 through two payment vouchers, that is payment voucher number 33706 and 33641, each of 172,000, resulting to a double payment.
Where is the query? Can you put it on the screen, Chair?
Can you, yeah. Yes, auditors, are you able to send your queries to the secretary so that they can be able to display them on the screen?
No.
Why are you not able to when you're reading them? Sumaili. Sumaili.
Chair, can our clerk just display them? I think our clerk's got those queries.
I don't think our clerk have the queries. Christine, do you have the queries?
Chair, the queries from the Auditor General have not been shared with us, but we have enabled them to share the screen. They can share the screen on their end. What we are projecting is the Muranga County response.
Okay, please, Auditor, and I think Sumaili, you know these issues. Can you please display them? Can you share the screen? Auditor, we don't have a lot of time. Can you respond so we know how to proceed?
Just a moment, I retrieve the document.
Because for the next inquiries, they should send everything to our secretariat so that we have them in advance, even the questions which they intend to ask.
Auditor?
Where is it? Is it reversed? Where is the reversal?
Auditor, kindly, you were reading a document. Why is it difficult for you to display the document? Okay, Governor.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
Can you now respond to the issue of double payment of to Suki Pharmaceuticals?
Senator Ladama, the auditors established it was a double payment, it was accepted, and it was reversed as we investigate how it came. But the 175,000 was a double payment, 172,000 or so, it was identified and it was repaid back. And we have evidence to that.
Auditors?
Maybe they need to share the evidence with us.
We
Members?
have a bank account, evidence.
Members, no, it's okay, Governor. Just hold on, Governor. You've admitted that you made a double payment. The auditors have indicated they have not seen the proof of the reversal. Now, can we hear this from the members on how we want to treat this?
That's a very straightforward answer. We don't even have to labor on it. We
Yes.
just move on. You know, where there is evidence, you know, we don't really have to labor on it.
No. Senator Uta, there's no evidence.
Now,
Yes.
he has accepted. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, Senator Kwamboka.
The governor has already said they have evidence. Can they beam the evidence so that the Auditor General and us can prove that that money was given?
Chairman?
Yes, Dr. Abdullahi.
Yeah, I think once the governor has admitted, as I think if
It's a
they have
double
not
payment.
the double
Move
payment, let them just send the facts to the Auditor General and also the Senate, and let it be within the 1 week like the other one, so that we revise it at the same time. I think we proceed now that he has admitted and he said we have reversed the money, the double payment. Let them prove that, and that's the end of we proceed, Chairman. We don't have to argue on that.
Chair,
just hold on.
I have a different opinion. Yes, while I appreciate that the governor admits that mistake was done, the corollary of that admission is what action has been taken against an officer who did this double payments. Because if it weren't for the auditors who pointed out this thing, this money would have disappeared. So what action has the governor taken as the CEO of the county government to address this omission or double payments? Thank you.
Governor, can you respond to that?
I support that. I support that.
Yeah, hold on, Senator Ali.
Okay.
Yeah, Governor, can you respond to that query by Professor Samongeri?
I agree with Professor. We have actually written to the officer, and now we are processing the responses so that we process through HR.
Now, Governor, you have admitted that this was a double payment. You further stated that you have reversed the money. And then further, you also indicated that you are taking some administrative action on the officer. What I'd like to rule to move forward is this. Within the same 7 days, I want you to provide evidence to the auditors that you've indeed reversed this money and this money is back into the county coffers. And on top of that, show us proof of the administration action taken and when it was taken for the officer who made this double payment, all within 7 days, so that we can be able to move forward.
That's okay, Senator.
Okay, thank you. Auditors, can we move to the query number 4?
Thank you, Chair. Wrong computation of withholding tax of Kenya shillings 635,482. The county government contracted Multiples East Africa Limited to a contract sum of 31,946,000 to supply SU equipment. there was a deductible amount of VAT of 638,920, but the county withheld 3,438 instead of 638,920. There was a difference of 35,182, which was paid to the supplier through a payment voucher number 33942. Contrarily to
Christine,
section
hold
42.
on, auditor. Hold on, auditor. Murang'a County, please mute your microphones. Murang'a County Hall number 2, kindly mute your microphone.
Can you mute those microphones? You people, mute.
Thank you. So the query is that the supplier was paid an 635,482 that comprised of VAT, contrary to section 42A of the Tax Procedures Act, which requires the commissioner that the commissioner may appoint a person to withhold 2% of the taxable value of purchasing taxable supplies at the time of paying for the supplies and remit the same directly to the commissioner. Thank you.
Governor, can you respond to that query on the wrong computation of the holding tax?
Let the CC respond to that. Then I can comment.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I think the company in question was Medibos East Africa Limited, which was contracted to supply ICU beds, patient monitors, suction units, blood gas analyzer, pulse oximeter, and desk computers. From all the above items supplied, only desktop computers worth 196 are chargeable for tax. The rest are either exempt or zero rated as per their tax annex, which was sent to you.
Auditor, the Murang'a County government is disputing your findings that the wrong computation, the 2% that you've raised, they're indicating that what they were supposed to pay was only 3,438. Did you look at all those documents to be able to prove that everything was taxable? Auditor, unmute yourself and then speak, please.
Thank you. The payment voucher provided did not clarify what was non-taxable and taxable.
Members, maybe before you can ask a supplementary question.
Chair.
Yes, Professor Ongeri.
I think it was the responsibility of the Murang'a County government to segregate those which were tax deductible and those which were exempt in tax payment during the audit time. When they were preparing this response, did they make an effort as a follow-up on the audit query to write to the Auditor General saying we now have evidence that these are the deductible taxes on these items that were purchased, as opposed to the ones which are non-deductible? I think that's really, to me, it's a process of bookkeeping on how to be able to segregate those elements that attract tax and those that do not attract tax. So do they take that step? Because it's a question of good faith. Yes, this money owed to government as part of the tax, and the Murang'a County government is a government agency for tax deduction. So what they do to fulfill their obligation? Thank you.
Now,
Chair, can I speak? Chair, can I speak?
Yes, yes, Senator Irongo, proceed.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me this opportunity. When it comes to matters tax, they tend to be technical. So therefore, in this instance, we are finding Murang'a County is saying correct tax was done. But on the other hand, the auditor is saying, no, there is some pending tax. From where I sit, I think I would urge the Murang'a County government to reconsider, do recomputation, and most likely I would personally be persuaded by the computation done by the Auditor General. And if indeed the computation that was done by Murang'a County government was erroneous, the correct sums should be recovered it should be then sent to the relevant tax authority, and the evidence should be to this. Evidence should be provided to this committee to illustrate compliance with tax laws. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe before, Governor, you proceed to respond to the query as asked by the two senators. Do you have a confirmation of the annexures that you sent to the Senate when they were received? Because you seem to be in all your responses, you are referring to annexures which really we do not have in the Senate. Do you have a confirmation of when they were received? That's issue number one. Number two also, if you can, I hope you've taken note of the issues that have been raised by the two senators, because this is an issue which is, I agree with Senator Irongo, it's technical, but it's just very interesting that in such a huge amount of 31 million, only 3,438 will be taxable. So do you have that computation? And why is it that during the audit, you could not provide the auditors with this computation for them, for us not to be dealing with an issue of reconciliation here?
Senator, thank you. I think on the first question, we sent those documents through email, so there's proof. Number two, on this issue of tax, as Kangata says, tax matters are technical. So after the matter came through and then the team was, as was required, was supposed now to dig for answers, they are able to produce a document showing the taxable and not taxable items. So that's what helped us. I agree we would have produced it then, but also tax matters, also sometimes you have to go to the files to know what is taxable and what's not taxable. So I agree, yes, we should have produced it then. We can produce it to the auditors, and then they can look at it afresh. But we have the list of the taxables and non-taxables.
Okay, two things, Governor. We have not yet received your annexures. You indicated that there's proof. Kindly provide us that proof. But meanwhile, can the county secretary email those annexures to our clerk? I'm pretty sure they have the email address of the clerk, and if they don't, we will be able to provide here.
Thank you. I also have the email addresses here, the ones we
So
have
kindly,
used, but we shall resend.
Is it possible for you to resend? And also, one of the other things is that when you're providing the computation to the auditors, and I'll give this within the same 7 days, kindly, provide also that proof that these documents were sent to the Senate and also to the auditors. Because, Governor, we are not here to fight. We're just here to try and get the true picture of how these funds were spent. So the auditors play a critical role in going through. And when they're coming to visit you, if you're able to give them this information, it would help us so that you don't have to spend so much time looking at an issue of reconciliation. So kindly, within the same 7 days that are given earlier, kindly provide that proof and also provide the new computation. Is that clear, Governor? Governor? I hope he's had that. Auditors,
Chair.
can you please proceed to the next issue? Yes? Do you have a
Before
supplementary
they
question?
proceed, Chair, before they
Yes,
proceed.
yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Senator.
I just on following on the same that you have requested from the county government of Muranga, you should also tell them that whenever they are supposed to send documents, there are regulations and there is an order where you are supposed to send these documents before this meeting, so that when we are going through, we are not going to be arguing on documents that we don't have. So make sure that whenever they are supposed to give or submit any documents or any attachments to the documents, they must send before the meeting.
I think, Governor, you've heard that clearly. Our Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, I think actually section 19 and 18 are very clear. And also when we request for any information from you, it is important for us to have that information earlier so that we're able to know how to, mitigate on these matters. But I think that matter is clear. Within the 7 days, kindly provide that evidence and the new computation to the auditors and also to the Senate clerk. Auditors, please, let's proceed to the other issue.
Thank you, Chair.
Procurement without requisition. Proceed.
Okay, Mwangi County procured a total of 3,700 bales of maize flour from Central Milling Enterprises, Valley Land Millers Limited, and Pamaki for a total of Kenya shillings 5,576,600 without a purchase requisition contrary to Section 22, subsection 1 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Regulation 206, which requires every procurement requirement to be initiated using a purchase requisition, which shall include all necessary information pertaining to the procurement. Thank you.
Governor, your response?
Okay,
Thank you, Chair. The procurement of the 3,700 procurement and disposal regulations, all LPOs were as a result of purchase requisitions for each supply from the user department. However, we had two files, one for COVID and another one for normal procurement of other items. This particular requisition was in the file of the normal file due to a mix-up. So after the auditor highlighted the matter, we went back and realized that it was just misfiling, and the document is now attached and availed in the documents that were sent to them.
Maybe before I even allow the auditor to respond to that issue, can I kindly request that you switch off all other devices and you just allow one device, because we're getting a very serious echo. Auditor, you've had the response from the governor. Can you kindly confirm that this is the case as the governor has stated?
Thank you. We are to see the requisition that the governor has talked about, so maybe they can share it with us.
Auditor, maybe before I give it back to the other members, when you're carrying out this special audit, do you send a draft audit report back to the governor for them to be able to respond to matters before you table that report to Parliament as per Section 31 of the Public Audit Act? Do you take the same procedure or this is a different procedure? Auditor?
For the special audit, we do not send a draft report to the county, but the matters raised here were discussed during the exit meeting. Thank you.
And what was the response during the exit meeting?
For this one, they did not respond. They were to go back and look at it, but they never sent us any further communication on the same.
Okay, Governor?
Yes, Chair, can I?
Maybe Senator Irongo, hold on 1 second. Governor?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as auditor has said, for special audits, we don't give responses immediately because it's special. But as we've said, it is there, it is due, because it is nearly impossible, Senator, it's actually impossible for an LPO to be generated without, because it's the requisition which triggers any procurement process. So it's nearly not a possibility under procurement circumstances.
Senator Irongo? Senator Irongo, proceed.
Yeah, thank you. Two questions. One, maybe that document which the county executive of Mwangi is relying upon should be shared with the committee and also the auditor. We look at it and then we make a determination. Secondly, kindly, we need to be told the relationship between COVID-19 and the procurement of maize. Thank you.
Any other member?
Yes, I think,
Professor?
Chair, this is a question of reconciliation. And I think the county government of Mwangi has made a case on LPOs that were under normal supplies and the ones under the special category. So what I would require, Chair, is that they provide for us the way he has read that response, how it was segregated when this audit query was raised up, so that we can move on. It's just a question of reconciliation.
Any other member? Governor, you've heard what the auditors have indicated.
Yes.
And I'm actually finding it very difficult. I'm finding that you're being very evasive in terms of responding to the queries, because these matters were, the auditors have indicated clearly that they discussed these matters during the exit interview. I really would like
Senator, I'm not evasive. Might be you expected the trouble. I'm not evasive.
No, please. No, Governor, we don't expect any trouble. If trouble comes, you know how to deal with trouble. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, so when you say I'm evasive,
the
I'm
issue
not
is this. You're not answering the question. You are saying they were there, they were there. And you are not dealing with these matters, Governor. You know, this is a very small issue. It's an issue of procurement. The auditors have raised a concern. They raised it during the exit interview. You did not provide that information. The answer you have now given is less believable because you're saying we had 2 files, but then even after you got it, you did not submit to us. Neither have you submitted it to us now. So I'm a little bit concerned. I would want to believe that this was an issue of oversight, and that when you're submitting the other documents, you will be able to provide this additional information so that we can be able to clear that query. Our job here is to try and mitigate. So instead of wasting more time, Professor Ongeri has raised and said this is an issue of reconciliation. Senator Kangata has also indicated that it's an issue that needs to be clarified. So what I would request you to do is that since the auditors have not seen the document you're referring to, kindly, within the same 7 days that I've given you, provide those documents to the auditors for verification and also a copy to us. That's so ordered. So auditors, let's proceed to the next question.
Thank you, Chair. Awarding tenders to non-qualified bidders for 3 million Kenya shillings. So we're saying the county awarded a tender to Ragtech Holdings Limited for Kenya shillings 1,500,000 to supply surgical face masks, despite not being pre-qualified to supply pharmaceutical items. The same was observed for Light Sheen Ventures that was awarded a tender to supply surgical face masks amounting to Kenya shillings 1,500,000. And we're saying that this is contrary to Section 93(1) of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act 2015, which requires a subject to provisions of this subsection. Subsection 2, an accounting officer of a
point of order.
Yes, Senator Kangata.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There's one question I'd asked about the relationship between the purchase of maize and COVID, which remain unanswered in the original question. Thank
you.
Fair enough.
Chair.
I think what we do.
Chair.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
So that you don't mix issues, complete that query that the auditor is raising, and then at the same time when the county government is responding, they can as well respond to Senator Kangata's question, so that you don't.
That's fine, Senator. That's fine, Senator. Senator, I was going to actually give the same directive, but auditor, proceed. Just finish the issue, and Governor, please note the query which was been asked by Senator Kangata.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I was saying this was contrary to Section 93, subsection 1 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, which requires that subject to provisions of subsection 2, An accounting officer of a procuring entity where applicable may conduct a pre-qualification procedure as a basic procedure prior to adopting an alternative procurement method other than open tender for the purpose of identifying the best few qualified firms for the subject procurement. Thank you.
Governor, if you may please answer that question first, and then later on, I'd want you to respond to the relationship between the two.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Kamata has asked. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Kenyatta is my senator. And I know he understands the relationship, but I will explain. We were giving food to the vulnerables, and even Senator Kangata gave food. And Senator Kangata, thank you very much because you helped me in giving food. So you know the relationship. The vulnerables suffer most. We even gave some to bars which had been closed, and we had a list of those people. So, Senator, you also supported me in doing that. So there is a relationship.
Senator Kangata? Senator Kangata, did you understand the response given by the governor?
The Chair, maybe
Christine,
I come in.
Just hold
Just
on first, Senator. Hold on, Senator. Hold on 1 second. Christine, are you able to get to Senator Irongo Kangata just to clear that issue?
Yeah, I'll try to reach him.
You could ask, you could have given me.
Just hold on 1 second. I will give you that. I'll give you an opportunity to ask the question. Governor, can you first respond to the issue raised by the auditor on the awarding of tenders to companies that were not pre-qualified?
Yes, it will be raised, and you have an answer right away.
Okay,
So, thank you, Chair. The supply of surgical face masks is under a different category of non-pharmaceuticals. So both those companies that are highlighted there have been pre-qualified for the supply of non-pharmaceuticals and not supply of pharmaceuticals. Those are two different categories. Therefore, the two firms were pre-qualified.
Auditor, before I give it to the members, the governor is insisting that the two firms were pre-qualified. Did you get any clarification on now the new information we are getting that this were from a different entity than the other one?
Okay, thank you, Chair. The two firms were not pre-qualified to do pharmaceuticals, and we consider face masks to be pharmaceuticals based on KEMSA Act of 2013 on the interpretation of the medical supplies. So when we checked the pre-qualified suppliers of pharmaceuticals.
Can you put off all the other devices? If you have 2 or 3 devices together, they will create an echo. And we cannot continue with a meeting like this.
Okay.
Yes, proceed.
Yeah, so based on review of the pre-qualified suppliers and the pharmaceuticals, the two firms were not listed. Thank you.
Auditor, were these firms ever pre-qualified to supply anything into the county government of Mwangi?
Yes, they are in the other list of pre-qualifications, but not in the list of pharmaceuticals pre-qualification.
Members?
Chair.
Yes, Senator.
Chair, I have 2 queries to the Auditor General, just for clarification purposes. On the issue of this is a pandemic, and this was an emergency. How are county governments expected to treat issues of other services that were provided, like non-pharmaceutical products like food? We have heard about maize here. How are they to account? 2, how are they also to look at issues of non-pre-qualified
You have muted yourself, Senator. Senator, you've muted yourself. Can you repeat your last question because you muted yourself?
I am saying, how do you treat this issue of lack of, non-pre-qualified suppliers, given an emergency situation like this pandemic time when it came?
Auditor?
Chair,
No, just hold on, Senator Kangata. Auditor, can you answer that first?
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of non-pharmaceutical items like food, like the governor of Mwangi said, there were the vulnerable who were affected by the pandemic. A number of counties took that direction of providing food to the vulnerable in the society. And what we looked at is whether the procurement process of the food items was done according to the Procurement Act. And for the pre-qualification, the counties were expected to use the suppliers who had been pre-qualified in the previous year. Thank you.
Members, and then we'll go back to Senator Kangata on the other issue. Professor Ongeri, on this matter, you have asked a query.
Chair, so in this matter, the county government did not do a mistake in giving out food, but the process of giving out food is what is being queried.
Auditor? Just auditor, before Senator Professor Ongeri comes in, auditor, can you clarify that issue that Senator has raised, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we are querying the process of procuring the food, not the action of procuring the food, of providing the food. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Professor Ongeri?
Yes, just put it on record that surgical face masks are not non-pharmaceutical. They are pharmaceutical items. And I was just wondering why they did not give the right farms that were pre-qualified to supply pharmaceutical items to supply these face masks, surgical face masks. That's what I cannot understand. If they can help us to understand that, then we might pass it. But at the moment, you take a surgical face masks, which are pharmaceutical, to be supplied by non-pharmaceutical. I have a serious problem of quality, and because then how do you then assess the quality when you are purchasing those items? Just mere tender and provision will not help. Who then satisfy that quality?
Professor, just for clarity purposes, are you saying that mask, gloves, and syringes are pharmaceutical items or non-pharmaceutical items?
They are pharmaceutical items.
Legal, can you check the act?
They cannot
clarify that issue for us, because pharmaceuticals items, yes?
Those would be, I think those one fall under non-pharmaceutical. Syringes.
Which ones?
Syringes.
I just want us to be clear.
Yeah, they are under
second. Senator, order. Professor,
yeah,
I just want us to get a clarity from legal whether syringes, gloves, and masks are pharmaceutical or are non-pharmaceutical items, so that we can proceed and engage the auditors.
Let's get that clarity first.
Legal, please.
Chair, I'm reviewing the act. I will update you once I have the response.
Okay, fair enough. I think then we'll have to leave this matter in abeyance until we can be able to get the clarity from the legal so that we can proceed further. But Senator Kangata, there was an issue which was pending on your part. Can you maybe now confirm whether you are satisfied with the responses or you still have queries?
Chair, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Senator Kangata, proceed, please.
Yeah, Chair, thank you for your ruling that we ask legal to make a clarification regarding whether those items are pharmaceutical or non-pharmaceutical items. But Chair, maybe we need also to ask the Auditor General on what basis she did the classification, which then formed the basis for this query. I would imagine she might have checked the law and made a determination under what category these items falls under. Thank you.
I think also, Senator Kangata, maybe if I can just refresh you. The auditor is on record saying that they are querying the process, not the items which were purchased. They are querying the process of purchasing, pre-qualification and non-pre-qualification of companies. That is the issue here. So let us not, although we may want to understand these other issues which are being raised, but let us focus on the issue that the auditors are raising so that we know how to proceed in answering this matter. The auditors have stated that these companies were not pre-qualified. And I think the issue of them being pharmaceuticals or non-pharmaceutical will also be able to help us, but it's a process which is being queried here, Senator Kangata.
Yes,
so with that understanding,
just a follow-up.
Yes, proceed.
Yes, yeah, I had the response by the auditor, and when she said that she's not querying the purchase of maize, she's querying the procedure. So I had that issue. So I'm now taking up following that tree. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Auditor, I think you've had what Senator Kangata has asked. Can you just confirm to this committee whether you looked at the law when you're raising those queries or not?
Thank you, Chair. You were guided by the KEMSA Act of 2013 on the interpretation of medical supplies.
Governor, I think you've heard what the...
Yeah. Chair, I think it's a matter of interpretation. It might even help us even on how to deal with this, because if you look at the definition of non-pharmaceuticals, they are interventions or actions that prevent that people can use to help to prevent the spread of illness. That is a non-pharm. That's the definition of a non-pharm. An item which you can use to prevent illness.
Okay, fair enough. I think it is quite clear that non-pharmaceuticals are the ones, items that you can use for prevention. So members, I don't know how you want us to treat this going forward, because I think in this matter, I actually agree with the county government that these items were non-pharmaceuticals. In fact, in its definition of pharmaceutical or non-pharmaceutical items. Members, how do you want us to proceed with this? Professor Ongeri.
Chair, I think I would really want to believe they are non-pharmaceutical.
Okay, fair enough. Professor? Yes, I can hear you.
No, I think if you're applying a technical language of pharmaceutical, the pharmaceutical items are the ones that you cannot procure from the counter without a prescription, but you can secure the gloves and those other related items without a prescription, depending on how you want to use it. But if these were meant to be surgical face masks, and then the element of quality comes in, and it's always safer to get it from a qualified pharmaceutical supplier rather than a non-pharmaceutical supplier. Those are the finer differences that occur in some of those drugs. But if you want to secure penicillin from a non-pharmaceutical supplier, that will obviously outrageously be wrong. But it's a thin line between non-pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical items. But we have an act which is guiding us, and I think as far as possible we should follow that. And if these face masks were going to be used in the in the operation theaters, and then I would have been safer to get them from a pharmaceutical farm.
Yeah.
Yes, proceed, legal.
Yes, from what I can tell from KEMSA so far is that the only definition they have is of medical supplies, and the definition for medical supplies includes both pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceuticals. The Act itself has not further defined what constitutes non-pharmaceuticals and pharmaceuticals. Therefore, Chair, I would request the committee to give me more time to find a policy paper that would make that distinction.
No, there will be no other act defining it other than what I've just told you.
Okay, fair enough. I think we've really tried to mitigate on this matter, and the auditors have indicated that those companies were pre-qualified, but they were not pre-qualified to supply pharmaceutical product. And the county government has indicated that these were non-pharmaceutical items, and they've also indicated to us that these companies were also pre-qualified, which the auditors have confirmed, to supply non-pharmaceutical items. Is an issue of interpretation. So I think we will leave this matter here. When we retreat to write the report, we can look at what legal would have provided us so that we can give recommendation going further. And that is so ordered. So let's move, auditor, to the next issue.
Thank you, Chair. Unutilize the leader funds, frontline health workers allowance, and Kenya devolution support.
Auditors, please put off your other gadgets there, kindly. Just use one gadget.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. Unutilize the needed funds, frontline health workers allowances, and Kenya devolution support project funds totaling to 100,475,000. So we're saying that as of that 1st July 2020, the funds from the NIDA, that was 6,965,000, the Kenya devolution support project, that is 30 million, and the allowance the frontline health workers, that is 63,510,000, was still held at the Murang'a County Revenue Fund account. So we're saying the failure to utilize the COVID-19 related funds expose the public funds to value for money risks. Thank you.
Governor, why did you spend this money?
Okay, thank you, Chair. As it has been captured above, the funds were received in the County Revenue Fund after the end of the financial year and therefore could not be used at that particular time because the budget had lapsed. But they have since sent the money to the frontline workers, and the other to the facilities has all been sent. And the finance department has used the stipulated systems to do that. Thank you.
Members? Actually, not even before members. Auditors, did you confirm when this money reached the accounts of Murang'a County government?
Yes, we did.
Governor, please, just mute. Yes, yes, auditor, when did the money reach the county government?
Thank you. The Danida funds got to the county government on 30th June 2020. The allowance for frontline health workers on 6th of July 2020, and the Kenya Development Support Program funds were received on 2nd of July 2020. Thank you.
So then it is true that there's no way that the county government could have spent money after the end of a financial year. Because you know, we do not use the accrual, we use a cash basis system of accounting. So members, I don't know whether you want us to proceed with that matter or we just leave it as that.
The only thing I want to find out, was this money still in the CRF account or it has been transferred to special purpose account for purposes of this pandemic?
Governor, has this money now been, I think I had your CC attempting to, say that again?
Has been paid. The money has been engaged now through the due process.
No, I'm saying, was this money still in the CRF account or it's then been transferred to special purposes account for you to spend it?
It was at CRF account by then.
Yeah, but where is it now for you to spend it? Because this is not a regular remittance. This is a special fund.
It was dropped to various accounts as guided by the fund for use.
Yeah, there was guidance from Treasury that you set up a special purposes account, like other county governments have done. So have you then swept this amount to the special purpose account for the purpose of the pandemic?
Governor, I don't know whether you're understanding the question being asked by Senator Professor Ongeri. Senator Professor Ongeri wants to know, yes, you received this money in your CRF account on 30th of June, the other money you received in July 6th. Where is the money now? Have you spent it now? Have you budgeted for this money now during this next financial year?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Because we received the money as at the close of the financial year, and very early in this financial year, we have we paid the 63 for frontliners and the 6.9 for Danida, and 30 for KPSP is being utilized.
Fair enough. I think maybe we leave that matter here. And auditors, when you're carrying out the annual audit, kindly review these accounts, whether they were now utilized, so that we can be able to clear the matter.
Not said, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, let's proceed to question number 8.
Thank you, Chair. Failure to value and disclose donations in the books of accounts. Murang'a County received donations in kind from various agencies, including the Kenya Medical Supply Agency. However, the officer in charge disclosed at the county headquarters not
Auditor, you're not audible. And Christine, do me a favor. Mute everyone, including myself. I'll unmute myself and the auditor. Because it's ridiculous for us to keep on asking you not to put on your gadgets, and you're still doing it. We can't hear anything. Okay, now, auditor, now can you please unmute yourself and take us through issue number 8, and everyone else remain muted, please.
Thank you, Chair. Failure to value and disclose donations in the books of accounts. So Murang'a County received donations in kind from various agencies, including the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority. However, the officer in charge of stores at the county headquarters did not keep the deliveries / acknowledgement notes, contrary to section 4.5 of the Procurement Records Management Procedures Manual 2008. Hence, it was not possible to determine the accuracy of the quantities recorded in the donations register. There was also no S13 acknowledging receipt of the items contrary to Procurement Records Management Procedures Manual 2008, the Inventory Management and Stores Records Section 4.7, which requires that S13 counter receipt voucher the goods received notes be issued. The county did record the donations in a donations register. However, valuation and disclosure of the donations are not be done in the accounts, contrary to section 71, subsection 5 of the Public Finance Management Act and the County Government Regulations of 2015, which requires that donations received be disclosed in the annual statements. Thank you.
Governor, you're given donation. Did you ask for the value? Kindly respond to that issue.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yes, it is true. We received quite a number of donations from well-wishers. And one of the challenges was that most of those donors did not give us the delivery notes, but we recorded all the donations and we actually classified them, the ones that were equipments, and we took them where they were to be used. But now the team is now going ahead and asking for those delivery notes so that we can record in S13. And the ones that are of capital of nature will be put in the financial statements by the finance department for accounting. Thank you.
Auditor, are you satisfied with that response?
That's okay, but we need to share with us the details of all that.
Okay, fair enough. Members? Members on this issue of donations, do you want to get any clarification?
Yes, I think the purpose of this audit query is to create a traceable record of items that have been donated by other agencies, KEMSA included. And if they don't appear, they can also disappear through some other avenues. And that's why it's always important that these records are done properly and accurately. Having said that, it's important for the Murang'a County government, Governor, Your Excellency, to be able to expedite that S13 records register so that they are properly accounted for. Some enter and disappear through some other doors. That's the reason for this audit query.
Any other member?
Chair.
Yes,
Chair.
the Senator. Yes, proceed.
I think it is important for the Office of the Auditor General to tell the county governments, not only the Murang'a government, but also all other county governments, in this issue of donations, what do they expect? Because remember when we visited the KEMSA offices, their stores the other time, we saw a lot of donations that were being given to the country by different partners and friends. And so if they are not recorded by both KEMSA and the recipients counties, then this will shed a bad picture on us on what did we receive, what value. So I think the auditor's office should tell the county government what are they expected, what do they have to record, and in which books, so that they can differentiate whether they are statements, whether they are delivery notes, whether they are what are they supposed to get, and what are they supposed to record in terms of audit purposes, so that we don't experience such a kind of a query next time.
Fair enough. Any other member?
And I think the governor should take note so that such small things will not be appearing in your legacy.
Yes, any other member? Governor, I think this is a very straightforward matter. And I'm happy to hear that your team is now trying to do the reconciliation so that you can be able to, record assets. This will go into evaluation role. And also if there are good materials that you are given to use and you used, it will just be good to appreciate and also record so that we know. And what I would like to request is that for the county government of Murang'a to work with the auditors, supply them with the records that they need so that we can clear this matter. These are people of goodwill who have given you these donations. You did not spend any money, but it would be wrong for me to donate to you, and then tomorrow some Kantangara's fellow decides to just sell them, and make money out of things that you received without paying for them. So I think.
And Chair, I'm not interrupting you, Chair. While recording what they have also received, it will be beneficial for the purpose of the audit that they also do what you call valuation of that donation, so that it's properly recorded in the book of the value of those donations, conventional values.
Fair enough. I think, Governor, you've had that. If you are not given a value, you can do an estimate. You can get a value at just value what you've been able to receive, and then you record. So this is a very straightforward matter. We'll leave it at that. I think within the next 7 days, if you can share that with the auditors, then it will be able to help us clear that matter. Auditor, let's move into the irregular establishment of Murang'a County Fund, COVID-19 fund.
Sorry, irregular establishment of Murang'a County COVID-19 Fund. The county established the Murang'a County COVID-19 Fund operated under Murang'a County COVID-19 Prevention and Control Account in Equity Bank, account number 02202799744485, as well as the Murang'a County COVID-19 Donations Incorporated Bank, account number 011-4157489750, without approval of the County Assembly, contrary to Section 116, subsection 1 of the PFMA 2012, which requires that a County Executive Committee member of Finance may establish other public funds with the approval of the County Executive Committee and the County Assembly. There was also no evidence of authority from the County Treasury to open the bank accounts, contrary to Section 119, subsection 1 of PFMA 2012, which requires that the county treasury is responsible for authorizing the opening, operating, and closing of bank accounts for the county governments and its entities, except as otherwise provided by other legislation and in accordance with the regulations made under that act. Thank you.
Governor, the issue of an irregular COVID-19 fund, can you respond to that?
Answer. Okay.
Yeah, Murang'a County government did not create a fund, but opened a bank account to manage the day-to-day operations of the COVID-19 multi-sectoral committee. So it was not a fund.
Governor.
Yes.
Even before I give it to the auditors to verify that, you open an account to be able to do, how is that account being audited or being operationalized? Were you collecting any money? And this has to do with the Section 109 of the Public Finance Management Act, which is quite clear that all the monies collected by the county is sent into the CRF account, except money which has been authorized by a fund. And this, I think this is what the auditors are querying. How do you just open an account to say this is for COVID-19? And what was the source of the money which was going in there? And how are you accounting for that money?
CC.
Governor?
Thank you, Chair. We normally open accounts according to guidelines given to us by Treasury, as far as special purpose accounts are concerned. But this one was a local account, so that we are able to manage the flow of cash to the people who are working on the multi-sectoral committee, because you have to capture any amount of money that they are paid. That was the reason for this, but we did not create a fund, because a fund also requires the assembly to actually accede to it.
Auditor, the Murang'a County Executive are saying that they did not establish a fund. How is it that during your special audit, you established that they did have a fund, but they did not follow the procedures? Auditor?
Okay, thank you, Chair. The concern was the account was receiving donations and some money was being forwarded there. So when an account is open without proper regulations from the county assembly, it is prone to misabuse because there is no clear guidelines on who is meant to administer the account or how the funds are meant to be utilized, and other regulations which may be guided by the county assembly on how the funds into those accounts may be utilized. Thank you.
Chair.
No, just Professor, hold on 1 second. Hold on, I'll give it to you. Yes, proceed, Auditor.
Yeah, so the concern was if the account is opened, how the funds inside those accounts will be utilized, how the withdrawals will be done, in the intervals of the withdrawals, who is to manage the account. Such details are the ones which are legislated by the county assembly and shows which funds are meant to be deposited in such accounts. So our concern is, yes, the accounts are opened, but we expected to be a legislation or some guiding regulations on how the funds in those accounts are meant to be utilized, which were not provided.
Legal, can you please read for us section 109 of the Public Finance Management Act,
No, Chair, I think if I can come in.
Just hold on. Hold on before Professor. Legal, kindly.
Yes, Chair, I'm on it. One moment. Establishment of the county revenue fund for each county government. Chair, is that what you wanted me to read?
Yes, section 109 of the Public Finance Management Act. Just read it.
Okay. So subclause 1 reads, there is established for each county a county revenue fund.
No. Read, no. Legal. Read the entire section 109.
Chair, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay, proceed.
Okay. There's established for each county a county revenue fund in accordance with Article 207 of the Constitution. Clause 2, the county treasury for each county government shall ensure that all money raised or received by or on behalf of the county government is paid into the county revenue fund, except money that A, is excluded from payment into the fund because of a provision of this act or any other act of parliament and is payable into another county public fund established for a specific purpose. B, may in accordance with other legislation, this act or county legislation be retained by the county government entity which received it for the purpose of defraying its expenses, or C, is reasonably excluded by an act of parliament as provided in Article 207 of the Constitution. Then clause 3, the county treasury shall administer the county revenue fund and ensure that the county government complies with the provisions of Article 207 of the Constitution. Clause 4, the county treasury shall A, arrange for the county revenue fund to be kept in the Central Bank of Kenya or the bank approved by the county executive committee member responsible for finance and shall be kept in an account to be known as the county exchequer account. And B, ensure that all money authorized to be paid by the county government or any of its entities for a public purpose is paid from the account without undue delay. Clause 5, the county treasury shall ensure that at no time is the county exchequer account overdrawn. Clause 6, the county treasury shall obtain the written approval of the controller of budget before withdrawing money from the county revenue fund under the authority of A, an act of the county assembly that appropriates money for a public purpose, B, an act of parliament or county legislation that imposes a charge on that fund, or C, this act in accordance with sections 134 and 135. Clause 7, the approval of the control of budget to withdraw money from the county revenue fund together with written instructions from the county treasury requesting for the withdrawal is sufficient authority for the approved bank where the county exchequer account is held to pay amounts from this account in accordance with the approval and the instructions. 8, any unutilized balances in the county revenue fund shall not lapse at the end of the financial year, but shall be retained for the purposes for which it was established. 9, financial.
Just leave it there.
Yeah.
Governor, before I
Yeah,
give
can
it
I
to
come in?
Professor Ongeri.
Yeah. I think
Just hold on, Professor. Professor, hold on one second. I'll let you come in a minute. Governor, the auditor has raised a very serious concern here that you had an account which was receiving donations. The money was being put in there. You've indicated that you sought approval from the county treasury and that approval was granted. But as you've heard from legal, section 109 is very clear that any money which is raised by the county government must be deposited to the county revenue fund, not another account set aside if it is not a fund. So can you maybe explain to this committee, why is it that you had an account which was contrary to the Act of Parliament in regards to how money should be utilized? With the approval from the control of budget, money must come also out from the county revenue fund. Any money collected, any ounces of revenue, donation, whatever, must be deposited to the county revenue fund account. How are you able, why was it that you were able to just open an account and receive money?
Thank you, Chair. Let me start by saying that to start a fund
Yes,
is a very
proceed,
elaborate
Governor.
process.
Can
And
I
we
come
follow
in,
the
Chair,
law.
first before he answers?
Okay, before you answer, but just take note of what I've asked you.
Yes.
Professor Ongeri, proceed.
Yeah, I think, Chair, if I'm reading the audit query correctly, it is relating that there was no authority from the county treasurer or treasury to open the bank account. And when I look at PFM Act section 119 on the responsibilities of the county treasury, subsection 1, the